Howdy everybody. Today I'd like to give a little overview of a van I've been working on. This is a really special project for me because the van is actually for me, or more specifically for my girlfriend, me, and our dog. Projects like this can be extremely frustrating for me at times, even though I know that the amount of growth I'll see, as a builder working on a project like this is, greater than any project I'll do for a customer. I'm really able to kind of dive deep on things that have interested me, and without the constraint of a deadline or even just a price tag. I can't spend forever building a customer's van because they just wouldn't pay me for that. But when it's my van, I'm very much aware of how well I could build something. It's just a question of whether or not I'm willing to put forward the effort to really see through all the different design obstacles and skill obstacles, really. Anyways, when I set out to build this van, the one word that I kept coming back to that I wanted this van to feel like was nimble. I think a lot of times you'll get on YouTube and you'll see all these van build videos that people are saying this is the best build ever, or this is the most the best adventure van ever. And I think it's really important to watch those videos and ask yourself, is this the sort of adventure I want to be going on? And I think a lot of those vans that I see just aren't designed for the kind of adventures I'm hoping to have. When designing a van, I think it's really important to kind of reflect on what you actually want to do with the van and how it will actually be used versus some kind of like romanticized fantasy. So when I say nimble, I want this van to be able to off-road as well as a van can. But at the same time, I do acknowledge that, over 99% of the miles of this van will probably be spent driving down paved roads. We're going to be accessing trailheads, but that's a lot of interstate driving. So I think it's a little silly to build a vehicle specifically designed for maybe less than 1% of its intended use. So the goals with this vehicle are to have it maintain as good a fuel efficiency as possible, have it be a quiet ride and a comfortable ride on the highways, but do what I can to make it perform off-road. So what does that mean? First off, I've decided to purchase a low-top Sprinter van. I'm 5'7", and when I stand up straight, my head is going to be basically pressing into the ceiling. But that's the trade-off I was willing to make. When comparing, your average built-out Sprinter van to a truck or a Jeep, the biggest differences holding the van back are that, first, it's just huge, and usually it's extremely heavy. So besides the low roof, it's going to look essentially stock on the outside. I've got solar panels on top. They could catch some branches, but really it is as low profile as a van can get. And in terms of weight, the van weighed 5,300 pounds when I got it weighed on the drive home with about a third of a tank of gas. And my goal for the conversion is for it to be under 900 pounds, so 6,200 pounds. I had hoped for 6,000 pounds. That would be a pretty cool number to hit, but I just don't think it's feasible with everything that's going in it. So what's going in this van to make it different or special, worth watching what happens here? First, the layout is a little different than I think is standardly done, and different than what I've usually done. Behind the driver's seat, I've got a sofa that converts into a bed. Behind that, I've got a full height cabinet with the fridge elevated, along with some to the left of it, some open cubby storage. Below that, I've got some drawers. Coming around, there's a huge kitchen. That countertop measures over 79 inches from front to back, and the L-shaped portion of it has a couple sliding doors that can be moved apart to access kind of the garage area. It's just a small garage area, but it can house our backpacks or a couple crash pads. In the back of the kitchen, we've got our water tank, and underneath the bed, we've got all our major electrical components, as well as our batteries and the compressor for the air conditioner. When building a van, a lot of the design work gets done in my head, and I'm a piece of paper, and often when trying to optimize storage and layout, it's really difficult to account for all the curvature in a van and draw that out on paper. So for me, I can't just like build a kitchen, call it done, and install it. I basically build a rough version, all the carcasses of the cabinets, and I install them. And that way I know that everything is working out together, because I feel like every component is so related to everything else in the van. So at this point, everything is built, but there's tons of finish work, which is really time consuming. Everything that basically makes the van look good, all the installing face frames, installing cabinet drawer fronts, all that still remains to be done. There's also a lot of little things going on in this van that will be covered in future videos. For instance, to keep the weight as low as it is, not only do I go through a process of sourcing poplar plywood, most of my cabinets are built using 1/8 inch and 1/4 inch plywood. In all my other vans, I've always used metal drawer slides, but in traditional woodworking, drawer slides are not a necessity. And by eliminating my metal drawer slides, I've essentially saved 40 pounds, which is almost 5% of the goal weight of this van build. The outsides of the cabinets are also made using these veneered panels that I've actually started making myself, because I couldn't get this aesthetic, anywhere pre-made. I've got a few of these accent panels that use these wood wedges, but the majority of the kitchen front and the other cabinet fronts will be using curly maple veneer with some of these stripes through it to kind of keep a geometric kind of theme going in the van. Then there's this futon bed. I couldn't find a full-sized futon that would stick out less than about 3 feet from the wall in its upright position, and I didn't want that much of my floor space taken up by my folded up bed. I think sometimes the most complicated designs are the ones that are easiest to interact with. If everything feels very mindless and very basic, oftentimes I find that the amount of engineering that had to be done to have that interaction with it is beyond the scope of what the end user can have. So this bed, I've really tried to get so that it feels like a single motion to deploy it and to return it to its upright position, and I've been able to achieve that while having the whole thing only stick out 26 inches from the wall. Other things I'd like to cover in future videos include things like, jumping through extra hoops to try to make your heater and your air conditioner quiet, building your own lithium battery bank and having it interface with Victron components, or just making professional looking wall panels that are clean, lightweight, and either fabric covered or wood. Anyways, thanks for watching. More details about this current build and about the process of how I build vans in upcoming videos. Thanks, guys.